Hello, welcome to the Monday nights edition, but you're actually probably watching this or listening to this on a Tuesday, Wednesday or onward, but it's recorded on a Monday, and it's me, Chris Howard, aka Suburban Gooner, for this Gunnerstown Suburbs edition of the podcast that we do every Monday. And right now, we're really feeling like we want to do a podcast tonight, aren't we, Ben?
Yes, I can't wait for this.
That is the dulcet tones of @BenLeader, who has assured me that he's going to thoroughly enjoy today's podcast, and he's not going to complain once about Arsenal. So, I'm really looking forward to that.
I can't confirm or deny.
And to complete the trio is the man himself, Steve Ofen. How are you, my man?
Wonderful.
Are you also going to be really happy for tonight's podcast?
If we're playing opposites day, yes.
Yeah, yeah, I get to be the over-the-top positive person, and you two can just complain away. Right, let's start the timer so that we normally get our 30 minutes up and running, and away it goes. So, who wants to kick us off with the absolute shower that we got treated to yesterday? But actually, it wasn't a shower, I don't think. Explain to me why it was, Steve, because Ben looks like he's about to explode.
Why it was a shower?
Yeah.
Oh no, but it's not though, is it? If you listen to all the pundits, it was just a Mourinho masterclass. It was nothing to do with the shithousery of defence that we've got at all. It was a Mourinho masterclass of tactics, apparently.
Why does he always do it? Like, this is the thing that really annoys me.
He didn't. He did.
No, listen. No, you're right. But why does when I say that, I mean when Mourinho comes up against Arsenal, it doesn't matter if he's got the absolute best team in the division by a country mile, or what looks like a ragtag bunch of farmers in white shirts and cocks on their chest. I don't understand how Mourinho manages to fluke these type of results. But I guess you could say it wasn't really a fluke, because he decided, well, we're not as good. We can't play football against this lot. So let's just sit in our low block and wait for them to pie themselves in the face. And I think that's exactly what we did, wasn't it, Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. But the thing is, it's not even difficult, is it? It's sit back, let us run out of ideas, and then attack the weakest player, i.e. Mustafi, until he mentally explodes. He combusted, didn't he? It was like he had an emotional breakdown on the pitch. Like, we joked last week about a Shea Longe, and we literally, someone needed to pull one out and just put him on it. Like, his head's gone, isn't it? Yeah. But he went full Mustafi.
Do you know what really hit home to me was I think it was in the second half, Ben Davies almost literally cleared it down the channels. He wasn't even looking, and it was just a hopeful ball that went over the top, and Kane was just like, I'm just going to chase that. And then Mustafiing he just fell over, didn't he? Kane went past him and he just kind of fell over. It was like, oh God, we thought we'd lost that guy, but he was always there. He was always there. Steve looks like he's absolutely frozen, or he's given up.
He's going to gouge his eye out.
He's just gouged his own eye out.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the first half, though. So let's talk about and Steve, you can kick off with this one. Talk about the formation, the setup. Were you happy with what he was doing, playing three at the back? We've kind of got used to it because it's making the most of the absolute budget back line that we've got. Was there any complaints from that perspective? And just talk me through your general impressions of the first half.
So no, when I saw the formation and stuff, I don't think it was a big surprise. It's been going okay recently. So you kind of got to continue on what's been positive. I was surprised to see Saka out of the team, but could understand given the amount of football that he's played and his age and stuff like that. But I was still surprised and a bit gutted, especially as in my humble opinion, I don't think Pepe covered himself in glory in that game. The first half, it was okay. When we got that goal, it was just, oh, what a goal,
Oh, what a hit!
To just throw it away straight after was so frustrating. Don't make me relive it. Don't make me relive it.
Ben, what did you do the moments leading up to the Lacazette goal and then 120 seconds afterwards. Talk me through what was happening in the Leader household.
Well, I've kind of got this thing where I don't actually celebrate our first goal anymore. If it goes in, it's a goal.
Well, even that strike.
No, I just
celebrate.
sit there. Yeah, but at the back of my mind, I don't like Lacazette, do I? So I'm sitting there like that. I'm like, right, fine. But it's subconscious. Like, I know that we're going to throw it away. And it was just frustrating. Like, to go off what Steve was saying about the lineup, I don't get his thinking at all. But I'm crossing my arms. With Aubameyang out wide, like I just can't process it. Like, I just don't get why you want our best centre forward doing doggies, and then he must be asking Lacazette to drop deep, because he's dropping deep and doing nothing.
He was really deep, wasn't
and
he?
He's
At some points,
the areas where Pepe wants to go, and all three of them are just irrelevant. Like our three, I'm air quoting for podcast people, our three best players, air quote, they just did nothing.
Yeah, going forward, there's a real dearth of creativity, and then the link between, we talked about this before, link between midfield and attack. I mean, maybe Lacazette is dropping so deep because Arteta has said, we are so terrible at the back, you might as well drop into like a defensive midfield position, because let's just get bodies.
Beckenbauer-esque.
Let's just Lacazette, just get about. I mean, I did celebrate the goal because it was a fantastic finish, and I've been like you, Ben. Like, to me, we were joking like this. I was joking like this beforehand. To me, this season is just a parody season. You just write it off, and everything from the empty stadiums to the absolute turgid football that we've had to watch as Arsenal fans. I'm almost just writing it off. So but I'm enjoying the little glimpses of what Arteta ball could be, and I think we saw that at times. What drives me insane is it just me? But it feels like when we score a goal, it has to be a very good goal. I think about like the Pepe goal at Brighton. I looked at that when we scored that. I was like, that's a fantastic goal. And then Arsenal beat Arsenaling. For us to score, it seems like we have to work the ball really well and pull out a great finish. And then for other teams to score against us, it just is almost like the parting of the Red Sea. And Kolasinac, I mean, did we just buy him? Did we just get him on a free transfer because they just looked and thought, I'm fed up of pundits saying that Arsenal aren't big and strong, so let's just get someone who looks big and strong but can't actually play football? Who wants to take that one?
Yes. Yes, we did. But that's the thing. This is why I'm so angry, because the future looks like, it's amazing how quickly things can change, right? Like 2 weeks ago, I was like, this is amazing. I'm well happy. Like, go and listen, like 3 back, I was like high. I'm sure I was high. But it's amazing how it's just shifted so quickly. Like, we could lose Aubameyang, so we could literally be stuck with Lacazette. They could renew him. They could renew Mustafi. but we're like literally like, we could be light years behind. Like, I'm talking light years. I know you're going to go, we are, but we are in big trouble. If you believe all the stuff that's coming about money, and then we don't have money, like, we literally need to luck out and hope that one of these like youngsters becomes like top notch.
Saliba is Beckenbauer, Maldini, God, Jesus, the ghost of Christmas past, everything. He needs to be Cannavaro. He needs to be everything and more. At this point, we basically need Saliba to be a hard tackling, ball winning, good distributing, covering lots of ground centre half at like 19 years old. And I don't watch a lot of French football, but like, we're in a stage where Arteta has literally gone, my team is so rubbish, I just have to chuck another central defender in there. I'm convinced that's the only reason we go through at the back, because he's just looked and thought,
it's true. It's true.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He throws a kind of left back in at centre back.
And what's happened to Rob Holding? I mean,
there was a question on the interview afterwards, and they said to Arteta, Rob Holding's last game, he got man of the match against Southampton, hasn't started since. It's like, will he play again? And to be fair to Arteta, he answered it right. It's been fairly positive recently.
Yeah, and this is the thing. So if I rewind, so we've drawn against Leicester in midweek, which actually, after that first half, we should have been 2 or 3 up. Let's just say we win that game by 2 or 3 goals, and Kolasinac was quite good. Game before that, we've we've beaten Wolves. Nice, strong, sturdy away performance. Again, Kolasinac in that. Game before that, we've beaten Norwich and, didn't really have... So he's kind of got some data behind him to say, look, you don't change a winning team, but we kind of knew this was going to happen eventually. There's no way that you can have a central trio of David Luiz, Godran Mustafi, and Sead Kolasinac, and one of them is going to absolutely shit the bed. I mean, it is generally, when you actually say their names out loud, it's quite funny. But what's not funny is when you then think like, they're probably collectively on something like more than $250,000 a week. I think they're probably collectively on close to 300 grand a week. Imagine just dropping that off the wage bill. I mean, and signing just a couple of half decent centre halves.
Imagine being a second choice goalkeeper and you finally get your chance and you're like, yes, I'm going to do this. But then actually you remember that you've got Mustafi, David Luiz and Kolasinac and you go, actually, no. It's fine.
I mean,
I'm going on loan to Luton.
Yeah. That goal that Tottenham scored, it was like Sead Kolasinac has suddenly decided, like, in FIFA, a sideways X pass is gonna hit your man because it's a computer game. It was like he decided to go on to manual passing just for a split second.
He held X for way too long.
He did. And he's basically a perfectly weighted through ball to Son in the derby. I mean, it's just depressing. But the second half...
Can we also give a big shout out to Xhaka's play? Was it Aurier who was about to get up? He tried to get up and tackle Lacazette, but if you watch it back, Xhaka just runs right across his path. Nice. Like that, right?
That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
A bit more of that. Let's talk...
Yeah.
The second half, then, I thought was a weird one because I was sat down in my back garden watching it, thinking we're in control of this game. We're dominating possession. We hit the bar for Aubameyang. You've got Lloris, who's made a really good save, palmed it away from Aubameyang. Aubameyang's just knocked the ball just wide from a free kick. We weren't creating loads of chances, but to my untrained eyes, I was thinking it's going to come. It's going to come. But I honestly, genuinely, I thought after what Kolasinac and not so much Luiz, he was just caught on his back foot. You've got to put the first goal all down to Kolasinac, but I genuinely thought they're not going to make another mistake, surely. I mean, obviously I'm a complete moron and deserve to be sectioned, but do you not think, am I the only one that saw that second half and thought this was a controlled possession-based Arsenal team that looked quite good? And so let's talk a little bit about Ben. Can you talk a little bit about Dani Ceballos, because what a renaissance!
I really like him, and this is who I thought we were getting. It's just a little bit. It's just too late, isn't it? Like we can sort of maybe throw some hate in Emery's direction, which I'll happily do, but obviously he got injured and it's just a shame. I just hope that we can get him to sort of stay on loan next season. I kind of feel like that's something we have to do. Just hopefully we can sign some players and kind of get a better balance with him in midfield, because him and Xhaka seem to be kind of getting on, which is quite nice. They just kind of feel like they need someone in front of them.
Yeah, I
don't know how that's going to shape up or look, but it's just nice to see him, to kind of see what we thought we were getting. I know it's late and there's like 3 games left or whatever, but it's been refreshing, let's say.
Yeah. Steve?
About Ceballos or about the second half?
Ceballos and then the second half. Or you can do the second half and then Ceballos. I'll leave it to you.
I'll go crazy and do Ceballos first. Yeah, it's the player we saw. I suppose was it in the Burnley game, one of his first games. We were like, okay, we've got a player on our hands here. Yeah, he's the type of player now that's grabbing the game, controlling it in there. He's even tracking back and tackling and stuff. He looks like he really wants it. Second half, it's a tough one really, because yes, I felt like we had it in control and all that, but I was just still pissed off. I spent most of that game pissed off because of Kolasinac.
Did you?
Yeah, I was just annoyed. I was angry the whole of that game.
What would you do after that game if you're Arteta? What would you be saying? What would you be doing to Kolasinac?
I don't know.
Anvil on the head?
I think that's probably literally, you must sit him down and go, I don't know. And the thing is, I was watching, I don't know what channel it is, but on YouTube you can see some of like the analysis afterwards. It wasn't Match of the Day, it wasn't Sky, it might have been BT Sport or something, and they like zoom in so that you can see like you've got Kolasinac's view, and there's like someone out wide. I think there's Ceballos or Xhaka in the middle. The pass isn't completely there, so you can see why he doesn't do that. The wide one looks on, and then it looks at Louise, and they were saying, if you're going to pass it to Louise, don't pass it in between him and the forward. Pass it between the touchline and the defender.
Yep.
And he just turns around and plays it, and it's just like...
It's essentially like 8 or 9 year old football, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
an 8 or 9 year old does that, and you give him a clap and say, head up. You just learn from it next time. But this guy is on 6 figures, I think, and he has been at Arsenal for a fair amount of time, and he can't pass. Like Arsene Wenger bought a left back that can't pass. Like Arsene Wenger got a left back on a free transfer. I don't understand that. I genuinely don't understand. Like the man who made technical security one of his modus operandi as a manager in Wenger, and he couldn't have seen that Sead Kolasinac he can't distribute the ball. It's weird.
He's got an engine, is he? He's all right bombing up and down and shoulder barging people. But yeah, Tini's a class above, I think, and certainly will be in the years to come. But in terms of the Saka change should have come a lot earlier. That should, you could see that should have happened.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about subs
corners. I mean, you could see. I think the first corner they had, you could see that someone somewhere has made the decision that Tini is going to mark Alderweireld. Why was that? Like that wasn't just a thing in the game that happened. That was happening at most corners. Why?
Yeah, it's like nobody. Do you know? I've played in 11-a-side where you'd have like a centre half who was essentially an arsehole, and they'd like grab you by the shirt and they'd like push you into a position and say, you effing stand there, and you just do it. Like there's nobody in this Arsenal team that I don't want to be like, Yadar on it like this, but there's nobody that's like Tony Adams that would just literally grab someone at Tierney and go, no, you're going there, and you're going there, and you go over there, and we've got our positions.
But I think they've dealt with that before the game. I think they've been told what to do. They've been given instructions, and this is who you're marking. This is where you're standing. They've been told that. But it was like, if you're going to pick out the best headers of the ball in that at a corner, he is going to be one of the ones that you put high up on that list.
Yeah. So Ben, in that case, how much of this result lays squarely at the feet of Mikel Arteta?
A lot percent.
Do you think so?
Yeah, this is the worst performance by him and the team yet.
Why?
I think he got the substitutions wrong. It's easy now, hindsight. He got the substitutions wrong, like putting in Saka, like taking out Saka. I mean, and then bringing him on too late. Kolasinac, I would have hooked him for that alone. I would have just hooked him, put KT at left back or left centre back, put Saka maybe left mid or something. Like it just was like ridiculous. Like it was like Aurier was having a terrible game. We didn't even once be like, look, let's spend 5 minutes just going at him. It's ridiculous. Winks made foul after foul after foul.
Yeah.
Granted, the ref did not give this, but surely you just go, do you know what? Let's play round him for a few minutes. Let him keep doing it because he will get booked eventually. And he did. It's like we don't have any like streetwise in us. Like you said, you don't want to go down the route of passion and all that sort of stuff. But it's like the management amongst the players or whoever makes the decision just seems never to be there in these like big moments. And like, I think this is where my sort of frustration is coming from. It's like, I can't see how he can fix this. Like, you can't, it doesn't matter. I think it was Mercer.
You can't fix idiots.
No, you can't. He was like, it doesn't matter if you've got Guardiola and like Alex Ferguson as the manager of this team. You can't, if your centre back is like kicking it, setting up through balls, Like, there's nothing you can do about it. And it just, there feels at the moment, it's like there's too many places to fix. There's like too many positions to, I'm air quoting, there's too many places to fix. Like the defense is a joke. Then you move up the pitch and you're like, we have got no creative midfielders. Like, where's the team gone where we used to have like 16?
Yeah.
I'm sure it was like 16.
We'd
It
be
was like
sending them out on loan. We'd just be firing them out on loan. We'd be like, oh look, we've got another creative midfielder
who can get ball. So it just feels quite bleak. And I just like, obviously Arteta's new to this. Like, mistakes are going to happen, but he got that one wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I go back to that second half, and the set pieces thing is an issue. Like, you guys have probably seen the Albino stat, where he talked about 45% of the goals we've conceded from set pieces. Like, that's coachable, surely. That's just discipline and structure. And right, what we're going to do with this? Like, right, okay, let's look at the opponent. Let's analyze how do they set themselves up for set pieces? Oh, well, what are we going to? Am I imagining it as well? Did we not have a man on the back post for that goal that Alderweireld had scored?
Don't say that. Steve's going to have a fit, mate. He loves
I don't think we did, did we? We never do.
He's going to go.
I never do. Don't talk to me about corners, Chris.
He's going to go.
Go, Steve, go.
Another goal that someone on the line could have cleared, you mean? No. No. It's just crazy. And we had 3, so we kind of looked like we were doing a mix of zonal and man marking.
Yeah.
So we had 3 players, I think David Hughes was one, just like standing there. And then everyone else kind of trying to stay with their man, which doesn't like make sense. You've been in games before where you have, like, I don't know, the best header of the ball, like defensive wise, and you can leave them free, right? You can say, right, we'll pick up the men, you just attack that ball wherever it goes. But they didn't even do that. They just stood in a line and hoped the ball came towards them. Everyone else was picking up a man. It's just it doesn't make sense.
Can I have a go at triggering Ben, Steve?
Yeah, go on.
Wouldn't it? Do you not think someone like Olivier Giroud just standing on that near post, nodding that ball away, would be valuable to us? Should we not just have kept him, Ben?
He's banging a few goals in recently as well, isn't he?
He would have. He'd be better than Lacazette.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem.
But
actually, like, there's a serious question here, which is that type of person that is 6'2", that literally is just half decent in the air, stand on the amount of times that a corner is whipped in to just by the front post, like just on the 6-yard line, roughly by the front post. If you've got somebody who's half decent in the air, they're probably, 5 or 6 times a game. If you think the average game probably has 4 or 5 corners or something, if you're going to get 5 corners in a game, 3 times it's probably going to go into that position. And if you've got a guy just nodding it away, and it just feels like we've just it's like you said, Ben, there's so many problems to fix. It's like every time Arteta fixes one thing, like stylistically in the way that we're set up, it's working. Like, I feel so he's got them playing in a certain way, and then they just go and do an idioting by not thinking of some of the basic stuff, structural stuff around set pieces, and that's just ugh.
But that's the issue. It's like you're looking at it and you're thinking, right, and you should never obviously look at other teams, but you look at like Chelsea, for example. They've gone and spent loads of money. United have stumbled across these like 3 or 4, like, well, it's just Greenwood, isn't it? But they've stumbled across Greenwood, and you're thinking they look like a completely different unit. Liverpool obviously have done really well. Man City have just pissed off the entire Premier League, which I think is absolutely brilliant. But they're saying they're going to go and spend 150 million, and you're looking at it and you're like, we've been leapfrogged by like Wolves, Sheffield United. Granted, they probably won't be there next year, but it just looks so bleak. Unless, I don't know, unless wizards happen. Call some wizards.
Form of wizardry.
Yeah.
Maybe Kia Joorabchian could be the agent for people like Mustafi, and maybe we can get him out the door. But Kia Joorabchian just seems to be focused on getting as many of his random clients that he can possibly find, like some obscure football clubs. We'll probably have like some Qatari left winger that'll arrive on our doorstep because Kia has given Raul the nudge in the summer. But So I'm going to give you some names and just let's play the bin or keep card.
Yes.
Rob Holding, Steve.
How big's the bin?
As big as you want.
Yeah. So what is this like?
Rob Holding, bin or
Is this
keep?
like real or
Season.
completely fantasy land?
Real, like people that you think.
It's real, Steve. It's a podcast.
So I can't just bin everyone and start again. I have to keep some people.
Yeah, you've got to keep some.
Gotta keep
Okay,
some.
I'll
Chris,
keep
how many
holding.
names are there?
I'm only going to fire about half a dozen, but I'm just the reason I'm doing this is I'm more thinking about money. So
Okay,
in terms
keep
of
holding. Keep.
okay, Lucas Torreira.
I'd like to keep him, but I don't think we will. I don't think he wants to stick around. I don't blame him, I suppose.
Okay, Mustafi. Is that an easy one? Is that a slam dunk?
Yeah, get rid of Arteta and make him manager. I'm sure it'd be amazing.
All right, Ben.
Bin him.
Give
bin
me a
him.
give me a COVID price on Mustafi. How much do you think we could get for someone like that? COVID world.
Like 7 million.
Yeah. All right. I think that's fair.
What?
So we've
who
got
are we giving 7 million to?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. But this is where the management's poor, right? He had like 3 or 4 like semi-decent games, and we all were like, oh, so why chuck him in this mental danger zone? The club should be easing him out. So they should have been like, do you know what? He's gonna Mustafi here. If the moment he Mustafis is the moment we lose any monetary value on this man. So let's stick him out of this game. Let the game happen. Put him back in once it's like slightly lesser opposition, and we could have eased him out. Ah, God.
All right, let's go through these quickly because before we wrap up, I want to talk about the next 2 games that we've got home to Liverpool and away to Man City. Kolasinac, Steve. Surely that's a bin.
Yeah, well,
Steve.
why not? It depends, doesn't it? Like, is it got dynamite in the bin? Like, can you blow it up?
You could do anything you want to the bin. It can
depends.
Be on
like, if you can guarantee that Tierney's not going to get injured all season and will play every game, then don't mind him being the reserve left back. But if he actually has to play, then no, you bin him.
And how much, Ben, are we getting for Kolasinac? Honestly,
like, nothing. Like a couple of mil.
3, 5,
3 million.
Let's say 3 mil. All right, that's fine. Bellerin, Steve.
Yeah, I think you have to keep Bellerin because he's not as bad as some of the ones we have to bin.
Ben?
Correct.
Okay. Lacazette, Steve.
I think I'd have to that's probably somewhere where we might actually be able to get some money.
Yeah. Ben, how much money, seriously, for someone like Lacazette? 29 years old. He's hardly been ripping up trees. I mean, I look at this post-COVID world and think 10 million quid?
10 to 15 mil? Really? I don't... Who would pay for him?
Well, if you were talking about 10 million quid, someone would take a punt on 10 million quid.
I think it'd be probably more than that, to be fair. We probably embarrassed ourselves there, but we'll go with it.
Yeah, I hope you two can't sell our players because we end up with a fiver at the end.
I mean, that was just a few examples. So right there, because of this post-COVID world, we're basically looking at 20 million quid is going to get you essentially nothing. It's probably going to help to pay off some of Ozil's wages because he's earning, 25 million a season. So, like you said, it does look quite bleak. I think we are going to essentially have to start looking at the youth setup and start saying which players can we bring through. I mean, you've got the likes of Saliba. Hopefully you've just got to pray that Holding isn't an absolute dud. We haven't really seen enough of him. Let's be honest. We've seen him in patches, and we've got to hope that David Luiz ends up being like 4th or 5th choice centre half next season. But let's talk quickly because we've got like a couple of minutes on the games ahead, and I've deliberately left it as late as possible to talk about these games so that we don't have to we don't have to dwell on them. Ben, thoughts on the 2 games and what you see potentially happening?
I don't know. Kind of, as you were saying, I kind of was just hoping that the final sort of few games would almost have like a feel-good factor, as in like we might see a couple of good goals. We might see some good performances from like Tierney or Bellerin might pick up, but you're just hoping now that we just don't get tonked, because I just think that would like batter the fan base, batter the club, and just we'd definitely lose Aubameyang, and it just would be bad. Don't get tonked is my answer.
Don't get
Do
tonked, Steve.
you think Aubameyang's going to stick around if you keep chucking him out on the left and
No,
throwing games
no,
away?
no, and that's what, like I've said this already, but I just really don't get it. Like, you want him fresh for when an opportunity comes that he can take the chance. You don't want him running doggies. Like, I don't get it. And you're going to play him against Liverpool. Their fullbacks fly up and down, regardless if they've had like 15 beers or not. They are going to he is going to run ragged. He's going to do absolutely nothing again. And we're going to have the same conversation if he keeps putting him out there. I get it, because I suppose, like I said, we don't really know. Like, you're seeing Arteta, and I suppose he's thinking like Pep, like a sort of Aguero type centre forward who's going to play. I guess that's what he kind of sees in Lacazette. I'm air quoting, but if he's going to be playing on the left, there's no way he stays.
No. Steve, thoughts on Liverpool and then the Man City game as well? Let's have some predictions as well while we're at it. Let's just make this really depressing.
Well, so Liverpool and Man City, I hope we have some. Getting anything out of those games would be amazing, right? But if we just have some good spells of football so that we can have some kind of hope and we don't get embarrassed.
Yeah.
Just so that we can see a way out into the future. I'm retired from predictions because I've got a 100% record.
Yeah, so much for since we've returned, our podcast is 100% undefeated. That truly went out the window.
Yeah.
Ben, you can do us some predictions then.
The lads are low. 3-1 Liverpool and 4-1 Man City.
We're going to beat Liverpool 2-0, and we're going to beat Man City 7-1 on Saturday night. You heard it here first.
Oh no.
Oh, lads, as always, it's been lovely. We are now at the end of our time together for this week. We'll do it all again next Monday. I'm sure we'll be even happier after we've picked up 2 massive victories, and we're able to talk about how fantastic it's been after the disgrace of the North London derby. Steve, thank you very much as always.
You're not very welcome.
And Ben, I love you.
I love you, mate.
Well, that's how it's going to be.
You don't get that, Steve. Sorry. We will see you all on the next podcast that we do. Ciao.
Yeah.